All right, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. There's a lot for us to dive into. Joao Felix, MUDRYK, and TIELEMANS on this show. We're going to be talking about the story from Court Offside that Arsenal have already agreed personal terms with MUDRYK and TIELEMANS. Deals advanced, and they hope to complete those deals as early as January in the beginning. And of course, we're also going to be talking about Joao Felix. A few stories indicating that Aston Villa are leading the race to sign Joao Felix, but the player doesn't want to go there. His recruiters and team do not want to go to Aston Villa, and they think Arsenal is a better destination. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the podcast. Would you love to see MUDRYK and Joao Felix both in January? That would be a remarkable window for me. It would be surely one of the best transfer windows Arsenal have ever done. Signing MUDRYK and signing Joao Felix in January. But do you think it can happen, and would you love to see it? Let me know in the comment box below and hit the like button, of course. Now, yesterday Court Offside did produce a very big story around our transfer targets, and they said Arsenal do believe they can sign TIELEMANS and MUDRYK as early as the earlier days of the January transfer window, because personal terms have already been agreed with both players. Now, I think with TIELEMANS, we know it was last summer when we talked to the agent, we talked to the player as well. Personal terms were agreed. That there is no question there. There is no any kind of skepticism around TIELEMANS and the personal terms. I think what Arsenal need to do is just agree a deal with Leicester City. So I will give them a tick on that one, because literally what they're doing is they're riding on a current wave to write the MUDRYK story. I think all of us know what TIELEMANS and Arsenal are. A player that wants to play for us, a player that Arsenal really want to sign, and a player that Mikel Arteta really wants. But it's gonna go down to how much Leicester City want and how willing are they, how willing are they to let him go in January. But I think it comes to personal terms, I'll give them that one. It's a correct story. Yes, we have already agreed personal terms with TIELEMANS, and that is a procedure and that's a process that we actually do not need to revisit. Probably, maybe there might be a few changes as compared to what we had agreed last summer, because now he's going to be more of a free agent, so he might need more money, he might need a bigger sign-on fee. But I don't think any changes are actually going to deter Arsenal from signing him. And that is why I really trashed the story from The Athletic last summer, that Arsenal didn't sign TIELEMANS because of physical abilities and concerns. For me, it was never about that. It was always about Arsenal not wanting to pay highly for a player they believe they could have gotten on a free, either in January by paying a small fee or even in the summer of 2023. Now, they have also written and said Arsenal have agreed personal terms with MUDRYK. Now, this one again, I'll give them a tick for this one, because it's more again of riding on current strength, on current stories, and on the current trend. Look, MUDRYK has already made it very clear that he cannot turn down Arsenal. He's already made it clear that there is one club in England he can't say no to, and that is Arsenal. We know the relationship he has with Alexander Zichenko's wife, and that means a good rapport between him and Alexander Zichenko. So Alexander Zichenko being at Arsenal, his captain, Ukraine, I think that's going to be a very big advantage. And look, based on the fact that the player really wants to play for us, I think there cannot be any reason that we fail to agree personal terms with him. Now, does this mean the deals are really advanced? Now, that is where I really disagree with Court Offside. Although they actually quote and say that our sources inside Arsenal believe the deals are doable and the deals are really advanced, agreeing personal terms really doesn't mean the deal is advanced. Like we saw in the summer, a player can agree personal terms with more than 5 clubs. Rafinha did that with Chelsea, with Arsenal, and with FC Barcelona. And in the end, he was signed by FC Barcelona. So we saw it with Lisandro Martinez as well, agreeing personal terms with Arsenal, but then signing for Manchester United. So I don't think the deals are really advanced, especially the TIELEMANS deal, because personal terms on this one were even agreed last summer. They were agreed 3-4 months ago. But what I believe is that these deals are doable for Arsenal in January. I still believe we can get them done between the first day and the 10th day of the January transfer window. It's never going to happen. Look, listen, it's not going to happen, but we can do it. We can get these deals done within the first 10 days of the January transfer window, but I'm very, very sure, and I'm very, very sure it's not going to happen like that. We won't get these deals done in that period of time. So when you think about personal terms, when you think about these two guys, that rules out Danilo, because with Danilo, I think it's a long process, and actually they've been talking about it court of side as well. And they say this Danilo deal, they've had, we've had initial talks. At initial stages, there is nothing advanced, and Arsenal fans need to really, really calm down about this one. Nothing is advanced with the Danilo deal. I think, look, anything that deals with Danilo, anything that actually has Arsenal signing Danilo, is exclusively off the record right now. It's exclusively off the record. We know that we have approached Palmeiras on two occasions, in the summer and also in November. We also know that we've approached the player and his agents on two occasions as well. We're waiting for response from Palmeiras and also response from the player. Does he want to play for us and everything like that? But I think if we get Danilo, we do not get TIELEMANS in January. Court of Side actually say they're not actually very sure how one deal affects the other. But I feel if we get Danilo in January, TIELEMANS is off the cards. Then that happens in the summer as a free. And that's why I really wanted us to sign Danilo, because you splash 23 million euros on Danilo in January, and then you get TIELEMANS on a free in the summer. That would be smart business. But look, I don't care. As long as we get TIELEMANS, if we can get TIELEMANS in January, do it and do it now. So personal terms, not a problem for those two deals. And it just highlights what I really, really talk about with January deals. It's all about how easy you can do them. It's all about the amount of time you're going to spend on one deal, right? So if you've already agreed personal terms with two players, all you need to do is agree a price with the current club, with the current owners, which actually takes a lot of time. When clubs don't want to sell, especially in January, we know now Shakhtar what they're thinking about. They're thinking, we don't want to sell right away, but we do not have any reason to block the players' move. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hype up the price. We're gonna hike the price, and whoever meets the 100 million euros will have beaten us to our game. Leicester also believe TIELEMANS is one key player to their survival this campaign, and you've already seen this campaign a few times on a few occasions. They've actually made him captain in some games, and that really highlights the really intrinsic value they hold in this guy. They want him to stay. They're still hopeful he can actually sign a new deal. In my opinion, he will not sign a new deal. He might not leave in January necessarily, right? He might not leave in January necessarily, but I still believe they will lose him, and they know that. Leicester City know that they will lose TIELEMANS, and Arsenal is going to be the club that actually sign him. Whether they want to lose him to a Premier League rival or not, I still now look. We are no longer in the same level at Leicester City. We are no longer in the same boat. We are no longer competing at the same level as Leicester. They are trying to survive relegation, and Arsenal is moving on, trying to win the Premiership. So we are two clubs at a very different level, and I think TIELEMANS at this time is going to be more interested in Arsenal. He's going to be more attracted to Arsenal than any other period in his life. He wants to join this project thinking and believing if he comes in the side, adds a few qualities, adds a few aspects to our game and a few aspects to our team. I think he's a remarkable player. I think he's a remarkable midfielder. He will think his contribution can actually win us the Premier League. And even if he doesn't, look here, even if he doesn't, we're not going to play the round of 32 in the Europa League. So we are waiting for the round of 16 in the Europa League. So round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the final. We have 4 rounds to cover in the UEFA Europa League. If we can cover those 4 rounds, we win the UEFA Europa League, we also win the Premier League. It's going to be the greatest history. This is going to be the best Arsenal team we've had in the last 30 years, because they will have rewritten history. They will have brought Arsenal back. And for me, this team, if they go on and do it, if Arsenal go and do it, if Mikel Arteta goes on and does it with the likes of Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Zinchenko, this is going to be bigger than what we did in 2004, 2005. This is going to be bigger than the Invisibles. It's going to be bigger than what the Invisibles did. Because what the Invisibles did is they were in a very good, comfortable run at the time. It was Manchester United or Arsenal. And that was the order of the day. And they had a very good team. They had a very, very nice squad and a very, very strong team. But this is a very young squad, immature, inexperienced. If they win the Premiership against Manchester City, against Liverpool, against Chelsea and Man United, against Antonio Conte's Spurs, this is going to be the best Arsenal. And I know many players actually want to be part of this story. Many players want to be part of this page in the history books. So let's wait and see if Youri Tielemans is going to be one of those players. So for me, I think it's a very positive story. I think it's one we should really feel happy about. I'm not really skeptical about any of that, any of the articles that they have written in Court of Side. I just want us to treat it with a lot of patience. These deals are gonna take time. Personal terms maybe are great and all that, but these deals are really going to take some time. These deals are really going to take patience. And I know Edu at the end of the day will actually work on them. Now, the other story is about Joao Felix. So a few stories have been written about this guy and Arsenal, and it's now one of the trending sections on my Twitter For You page. I don't know if it's called a Twitter For You page, but it's one of the trending aspects and trending topics there. So, Arsenal and Aston Villa are the two clubs today morning that have been reportedly really battling for the signature of Joao Felix. And I think Joao Felix doesn't want to join Aston Villa. Like, come on. Like, really, come on. Joao Felix, at his level, at his standard, when we've said that Arsenal might not be there, that Arsenal might not be that level, that Arsenal might not be at that standard to sign Joao Felix. And then all of a sudden, we are talking about Aston Villa. It is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And mark my words, Arsenal should not let Joao Felix join Aston Villa. It will be an embarrassment. It will be one of the worst transfer decisions we have ever made. If Aston Villa can sign him, if Aston Villa can agree a deal for him, then that means Arsenal definitely can agree a deal for him as well. So the stories moving around is that Aston Villa want him, and they're ready to table enough offers, enough funds to sign him in January. And I think this is where Arsenal look at this story and look at this deal in a more optimistic perspective. The problem I have with this deal is that although many clubs are actually scared of it, Bayern have just signed Manchester late in the summer and Sadio Mane. They might not have that 100 million euros to spend. And this is only hypothetical. After signing Erling Haaland, I don't think Manchester City will be going in to sign Joao Felix in January. That would happen in the summer at most. Man United is one of the clubs that can actually sign him if they are serious. Juve are out of the question. I don't think Madrid will actually sign him. And FC Barcelona are looking to sign free agents because they're out of the UEFA Champions League and they need to mind their finances. So I think this is where Arsenal go. Can we give it a try? Can we just give it a try? Can we just maybe try to sign Joao Felix? So his recruiters and his team believe he would rather go to Arsenal rather than going to Aston Villa. I agree with them. That is the smart thing to do. But of course, there's a lot involved in this one. The pricing, you have the pricing involved. You have the deal. You have Atletico Madrid as well. There's so many things to consider before signing Joao Felix. But it's one player I would really love to see at Arsenal. And the prospect of seeing Joao Felix Yuri TIELEMANS and MUDRYK signing for Arsenal, it just sends, thrills down my spine. I'm not really saying it's going to happen, but who says it can't happen? I mean, having those two who says it really can happen. In my opinion, it can happen. You can have Joao Felix, MUDRYK, and then backed by another marvelous signing of Yuri TIELEMANS in January. But we'll talk about these ones later when I'm back from school. Hit the like button, and I'll see you soon.